Even when you are fluctuating between hot and cold behavior, your specific person is still thinking about you, they're still wanting to be with you, and they're still obsessed with you. Hot and cold behavior that we experience in our reality, that we refer to it as coming from our specific person, can only actually ever come from us. Remember, the law of assumption states everything reflects from us. So everything that you are seeing outside of you is technically just coming from our own state and our own sense of identity and our own assumptions. So whenever you see your specific person acting hot and cold in your reality, just know it's actually our own thought process that is actually causing this. And there's a really simple way to think of it that makes everything very simple and very easy, because we just need to have the conviction of living in the end or assuming the state, and our specific person will immediately follow suit. So yes, even though we might be perceiving our reality as being hot and cold, it's actually just us. It's not our specific person, it's us. And the metaphor we can actually think about in order to align this with what we really want to do, if we do want to end this hot and cold behavior, is to actually think about it in the way of like a guitar string. When you pluck a guitar string, it's going to vibrate, just as any string that you pluck is going to do. And this oscillation back and forth is actually related to the tightness of the string. And the tightness of the string in this example is actually your conviction in your end state. It's the feeling or decision and conviction you have that you are already with your specific person. The more you have this conviction, the tighter the string, and thus the less wobble it can actually be. That's the same thing in our reality when we refer to our own state. When we don't have this tight conviction that your specific person is obsessed with you, that you are already together, that they want to be with you, that you can be the person that they are in love with. When we don't have a very tight conviction on that, our mind will wobble back and forth just like a string would. And so the less conviction we have, the more the wobble. In the same way, the less tight a string is, the more wobble the string is actually going to have. So technically, your state is like an instrument that you are playing. And once you tune it and tighten it to the proper frequency, it's going to have the perfect tone in your reality that creates exactly what you want. But this hot and cold behavior is actually entirely an illusion. And I know I said earlier, which I do want to go more into detail about, that it's actually only us. So you will perceive your specific person as being hot and cold. You might perceive your specific person as being confusing at this moment. But let me just clear this out. It's never them, it's always us. I always say that your reality is constantly showing up to you in the positive. Your specific person is consistently showing that they want to be with you, that they're trying to be with you, they're trying to show up in our reality. But the hot and cold behavior is due to us thinking that the behind the scenes actions are not exactly what we are desiring. And thus, we are the only individual that is in control of the tautness of the string, and thus are controlling it at will. And yes, we may think that the tune played from a string that isn't tight is horrific, and it feels that way in the moment, just in the way of us jumping or bouncing between hot and cold behaviors doesn't feel the best. Your reality is still waiting for the melody. Your specific person is technically in the crowd waiting to applaud you as soon as we strike the perfect melody that we've been desiring. In the same way, everything in your audience of your mind or your assumptions, if you will, are actually just waiting for you. And your specific person is no different. It's always crazy to me that we have this idea that the things in our reality would somehow not want to be with us. But that's absolutely crazy. Why would your specific person not want to be with you? Take the desire that everyone is always just choosing what they desire. Why can't we be that individual? It's almost like if we were to take it to inanimate objects, it starts to make no sense. Imagine you were to manifest this cup of coffee and you were to say to yourself, what if the coffee doesn't want to be with me? What if the coffee wants to be with someone else? What if the coffee isn't desiring to be drank right now, right? That would make absolutely no sense. The coffee has no will here nor there. It doesn't decide, or I would say it actually wants to be one with everything around it. But at the same time, we're taking these crazy wild thoughts and placing it upon the coffee, and we can all agree that the coffee does not think that. The dream car that you want, the dream house that you want doesn't think that. But somehow, because we think of people as having their own thoughts or worries, it creates this hot and cold behavior towards an individual or a specific person that you would never have towards a cup of coffee. You've never felt hot and cold behavior towards coffee, except your specific person is the one serving it. But if we can remember that it's just the thought that we feel other people might move away from us, or at least have the agency to do so, as to why we actually fall into hot and cold behavior or thinking to begin with. But the funny thing is, a specific person, for that very same reason, is actually easier to manifest. A cup of coffee, we would say, oh, it's very easy. We just go get it, right? Imagine the cup of coffee could get up and walk to you. Imagine the cup of coffee could have the desire to want to be with you. And I would say in reality, it does, even though the sense of consciousness that a cup of coffee has may not be related to the consciousness that we have, it still is a sense of consciousness nonetheless. But to say that because people have free will or their own mind or their own desires, that's why it's harder to manifest them, is literally opposite thinking. Your specific person can want to be with you and come to you sooner because of this agency. A specific person will change and alter everything. They have this own, we immediately know that we have the assumption upon them that they can change their reality at will. They can move where they want to move. They can go where they want to go. And so if we are just the object of their desire, meaning we are the assumption and embodiment of the person that they are obsessed with, then why would they not immediately want to be with you? Why would they immediately not want to come and talk to you, chase you, call you? Because the cup of coffee can't do any of those things. But we would assume and imagine that a cup of coffee is easier to manifest because of its lack of agency. But I would actually argue that specific people are easier to manifest because of their act of agency, because they have the ability to come to you. And that's where then the hot and cold behavior starts to come about, because we are wondering, what are they thinking? What are they doing? How are they acting? What are they behaving like? Or what do they think about me? What are they worrying about? What are their plans with me? But know that this is all coming from us. The hot and cold behavior that you are perceiving outside of you is actually from ourselves. It's our own lack of decision. The reason that we are hearing the guitar string play a crazy wild sound that doesn't really sound like the one we want is because we aren't tightening the string. The string isn't tight in such a way that then creates the frequency of embodying what we desire. And a really good example of this happening is I always want to include a success story in every single one of these videos, especially because we're doing this challenge this month where 1,000 people are going to be with their specific person. I want to include this one in which they wrote, "Hey Kyle, it's all working out. Last night my specific person came over, we kissed, I made him dinner, and we fell asleep holding each other. Then he woke up and went to work as he has a night shift or has the night shift." This is your reality as soon as we understand their specific person or your specific person wants to do these things. They want to kiss you. They want to have dinner with you. They want to hold you at night. They want to actually not work, and they want to stay with you the rest of the night just as much as you want to do that with them. And it's only the perception that we feel that they don't as to why we feel as if we can't create it. It's only the idea that the hot and cold behavior is occurring within our specific person and not ourselves as to why we feel we can't control it. Because I will tell you, just before this message I received from this individual who I was coaching with, just before this point, they had and thought a lot of hot and cold behavior. They even made a joke that I don't want to go into too much detail because of their personal situation. They joked that their specific person wasn't texting them, but then made a list of all these things that their specific person was doing in response. And they're like, how do I reframe this? And I told them, it doesn't really seem like you need any reframing at all. Everything looks like it's going perfectly. But the funny thing is, that's usually how our reality goes. Your specific person manifestation is going a lot better than you think it is, but we're unable to see it if we're not in the state. If we're assuming a hot and cold behavior, if we're assuming our specific person to be acting in a certain type of way behind the scenes that truly they're not, but we're assuming them to be, we experience the hot and cold. And thus we start to look at our reality through a lens of it not working out when everything is actually working out perfectly. So if you ever start to worry, start to have anxiety, start to have fears. Remember, this person who sent me this success story, moments, I think a day before this point, was actually worried about their specific person not showing up. So even in moments where everything is going perfectly, we can still have anxiety. But remember, anxieties don't manifest, your identity and your assumptions do. And remember as well, if anyone is looking to have this like 3-day Sabbath manifestation and wants to act on and manifesting in the same way Neville Goddard did, I had my seminar Manifest Them Like Neville Goddard. It actually was on yesterday. So now the recorded lecture and everything is available. So if you were someone who is impatient and didn't want to wait for it, you can now access it immediately. As soon as you sign up, you get the PDF of the workbook and the seminar. So make sure to check it out. If you like Neville Goddard, if you like manifesting within 3 days, and like all the representations that Neville Goddard himself would talk about. If you want to know how Neville Goddard himself would manifest a specific person, I tried to make a workshop that created that perfectly. Remember to put all of your questions, comments, thoughts, worries, successes down below, because we are still in this challenge of manifesting 1,000 successes by the end of the month. So by September, you need to be with your specific person. And don't worry, don't fear. I know it feels like a few days away. It's like a week away, but still you have more than enough time to create the outcome that you want with your specific person. We just need to believe it. And you're going to believe that you are so much closer when you understand that the hot and cold behavior is coming from us and not from them. If you like this idea and you know you're going to be one of those people who are with your specific person by the end of the month, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and don't forget to subscribe so I can see your own updates and your own progress with your specific person, commenting on all my videos. As always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.